I want to ask about this trad wife. You said it's not you. You're not even married. How did that come about?
Okay, so when I had a video that kind of went viral, and that's what put me on the map, I guess.
Uh,
And I had said a slur in there. That's why it went viral, unfortunately. And then there was these big news outlets, like far right outlets, like the Daily Beast was one, Daily Mail, TMZ was another one. And I started noticing that all these headlines were calling me trad wife TikToker says a slur or says something racist or whatever.
right.
And I was like, huh, where did they get that from? I guess because I was cooking. So they just assume people who aren't married must not cook at all, right?
Yeah.
Either that or they decided this is a good way to be able to trash traditional wives. You know, we know that they want to attack those sorts of women who choose the more traditional route. So a great way to be able to attack them and make them look bad is to, use somebody like me who's not even a trad wife and label her trad. So again, I never said that. I've never, why would I label myself that? I'm not married.
Right.
I would love to be trad, but I'm not married. So I'm not in the club yet.
Nice. I saw the video where you were cooking and you said the so-called N-word or whatever, but
Yeah.
it wasn't anything. It didn't. It wasn't negative at all. It meant nothing except what you were doing. Were you surprised at the backlash about that, and how did you deal with it originally when you first heard the breakout?
Right. I mean, I was definitely surprised. I made TikToks just for me and my friends on that account. I never really thought it was going to get any attention or I wouldn't have posted it, but I posted it for about a week and nobody cared. It was just my friends commenting and they were like, yeah, this is so true, talking about what I was actually talking about. And then I guess a few SJWs got a hold of it and, the rest is history. But no, it actually in that context, I didn't mean it offensively at all. I was just
Right,
saying a word like I would say dude or something like that.
right. Had a black woman said the same word with the same everything being exactly the same, do you
Right.
think that would have been a backlash about that if a black woman said it?
Absolutely not, because I see videos of black women saying it all the time and
Yeah,
it doesn't create this firestorm. But if you look like I do, you're not allowed to say that. And I have a problem with that because we're supposed to have free speech. Like
yeah,
you have the right to call me a cracker, and I have the right to
right.
call you if I want.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely.
Exactly.
And so, were you afraid of the backlash, or did you become afraid? How did you handle it?
Well, I mean, the thing is, it's like once something like that happens, there's no undoing it. So I'd never had anything like that happen before. I'm sure anybody in this space has experienced doxing and getting canceled. Everybody knows what that feels like.
Right.
And when that first happens, it's very scary because you're like, wow, millions of people are talking about this story. I'm getting hit pieces all over me. I can't ever get another job. I got fired from my job, so I was pretty scared. But then it kind of riled me up, and I was like, you know what? If this is the path, I guess God meant this to be. Then I'm just going to go down the path and try to defend free speech and hope that this won't happen to other people. So if I keep speaking out about it, maybe we can fight against that cancel culture that has ruined lots of people's lives.
And so you did lose your job.
I did. I actually had two jobs at the time. I was a marketing manager for a little company in Wilmington, and then I had a remote job for another company. So I actually lost both of those jobs.
Really?
Yep.
And so you go to work, and did you go to work thinking you're about to work, and they call you into the office?
Well, I was working remotely from both of those jobs,
Right.
and my boss texted me. She was like, "What's going on?" Because emails are getting flooded. The phone was ringing off the hook. She actually had to like change her number and everything because she was getting so many calls. So we're like trying to talk this through. She actually didn't have a problem with what I said,
Right.
because she was like, as anyone else could see, it wasn't meant in an offensive way. But the backlash became a little bit too strong, and then she kind of caved, like most employers do, and was just like, "Yeah, this isn't going to work. So you're out of here."
Wow. So she was like, "All right, Lily, we got to let you go."
Right. People only care about free speech as long as it's not affecting them. But when it starts to affect them, then they're like, "Ah, never mind."
That is so
Yeah.
true.
I
And
know.
were you surprised you lost your job, or did you think your boss would stick with you and see it through.
I mean, to be honest, whenever I saw the magnitude, I mean, that was like one of the biggest stories for like a week or two. I was like,
Right.
there's no way she's going to keep me on, and I wouldn't even have expected that to her too, because I mean, she's a business owner. I don't expect someone to throw themselves on a sword to protect me. So I kind of expected it.
That's amazing. And did you lose both jobs?
I did. My other boss DM'd me on Instagram actually and was like, sorry, I have nothing against what you said, but it's not going to work out.
Why is it that people have fear?
I mean, I guess it's easy when it's not happening to you to be like, well, why aren't you more brave? And I've said the same thing. Like, why don't employers have a little bit more backbone with these sorts of things? But, when it's a business you've worked for, you've invested money for, and you
Yeah.
have hundreds of thousands of people attacking you. I mean, people actually were showing up in the parking lot of my marketing job, and she told me, don't even come in because there's people outside the door. So, for people who've never experienced this before, we're used to it by now. But for those kind of people, I mean, it is legitimate fear. I mean, you have your address out, people have kids, they don't know if there's going to be a psycho show up to their home. So, it's fair. It's fair. But at the end of the day, people have to realize, you got to take some sort of a hard line in the sand if you ever want to maintain your freedoms. Because if you keep capitulating and giving ground, you're just losing the fight.
Yeah. And so for the people who don't know, you were making breakfast, you were having fun or dinner, whatever you're doing, and you were just talking.
Yeah.
And you said a number word, and then you said the N word, and that's when the bat hit the belfry, huh?
Right. Yeah, I guess I talk like that in general. So, I was like, well, everybody talks like this, right?
Right.
We were barbecuing. I'd come up to the house because I was supposed to get some like I think it was chicken thighs or something on the grill. So I was marinating them and I was like, oh my gosh, I've got to talk about this gold digger issue because every guy thinks they have to have, tons of money to be able to get a girl. And I'm like, most people I know marry poor guys. They don't care about that sort of thing. So, of course, the substance of the video was lost on everybody because of the unfortunate choice of words that I used.
That's amazing. So when your friends saw it, did they say, "Oh my God, Lily, you just said the wrong word"? Did they see that right away, or were they surprised about the backlash?
Yeah, like I said, it was posted for a week and nobody cared. Like they were just like, yes, this is totally right. I
Oh,
agree, whatever. And it wasn't till everybody started freaking out about it that my friends were like, whoa, Lily, what happened? Are you okay?
that's amazing.
Hmm.
And so is it starting to die down now, like go away?
Oh yeah, it's gone down. I mean, you always have fresh cancelings here and there, but
Right.
once you've gone through that first hazing process, you're like, whatever, they're not going to do anything anyway.
Oh, right on. Were your
Hmm.
family afraid for you? Your family member, were they afraid for you?
Oh yeah, I mean, they came up and like my brothers came up and stayed with me for a couple days while it was really hot because people, did have my address and I was getting a lot of threats of I'm headed your way, or whatever. But yeah, they were a little bit scared. I mean, they all got doxxed too, which is unfortunate. But at the end of the day, it's like, well, this has happened, so now we just have to figure out what the best course of action is.
I think it's so amazing that human beings overreact to a word. You
Right.
know, a word that someone else says or uses when it has nothing to do with that individual at all is only with the person that said it. But yet people tend to somehow or another make themselves a part of the word. You were not talking about anyone in specific. You didn't
Right.
say JoJo is that blah blah blah, but they reacted as though you said their names. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I feel like victimhood is almost a currency in today's age. Like, the biggest victim gets the most attention and whatever. You want to
Yeah.
be a victim, and that's incentivized and encouraged in this sort of current climate right now. And there's not a lot of actual victimhood. Like, let's be real. There's nobody's getting
Yeah.
lynched, nobody's getting beat up. Um, there's not a lot of real racial attacks. There's a lot of fake ones, like the
Yes.
Jesse Smollett issue, but people still have that desire to be a victim. So I think when they see something like this, it's a snowball effect where if they didn't have that attitude, they wouldn't think anything of it. But they have to play the victim. They have to get on board, and now they're with a team, and now they're all crying about it. So I feel like that's what it actually is. I don't think these people are actually offended by that, and
I
if they are, they're
agree.
super weak.
I totally agree.